a well-known name and you have that Bollywood connect has helped you with online. And that brings me to PR. I mean, how important is PR and that Bollywood connect?
Well, unfortunately, Bollywood is everything in this country. So, I mean, it works. You have stuff that won't really ever move in general, but if a celebrity wore it, an actor wore it, a cricketer wore it, it would move off the rack immediately. That's just the connect. That's just the way, the masses, the people who are buying your clothes see it. I mean, I know people who don't really like what they're buying sometimes, but they want to buy it because a Karina or a Sonam has worn it. And it's as simple as that.
Do you find the same thing?
Well, I beg to differ with that, though I understand and appreciate there might be a certain bit of population doing exactly like what she said. But the city that I come from and I speak for, we have more of the minimalist look selling, not the blingy stuff. I wouldn't say Bollywoodish. I mean, okay, if I can say Bollywoodish kind of designs don't exactly move very well in my market. So it depends. It's a market-to-market phenomena, perhaps, and designer to designer also, because there are designers who do exceedingly well who are primarily Bollywood stylists or designers. And then there are those who are like miles away from there and still doing exactly as much well.
Ashley, as our Bollywood expert?
Well, I guess you can't ignore us. We're here. So, like Sushil said, there are a couple of people that just walk into the store and ask for a particular sari that Kareena Kapoor has worn or whoever has worn. So it does make a lot of difference, We're here, we're there, everywhere. And in fact, all designers, whatever they sell, they want a showstopper, which is a film star ultimately. So in a way, it does sell. And, you can't ignore it, like I said again.
But when you're a Gen Next designer, then there's a lot to concentrate on. There's PR, there's price, so what is the formula? Can you give what are the top 3 things a Gen Next designer should be concentrating on, according to you as a buyer? You're opening a store, right, Ashley?
Yes.
So what are you looking for in your new store?
I'm opening up a store soon, and I'm looking for good price. Pricing is my uttermost priority. Fabrics, how good they are, wearable, and like somebody said, not dated. And pricing is the one thing that I'm looking for, and quality, that's what I'm looking for.
I'm looking for the value buy in terms of look and price, not just price, but I want the value in terms of as he said, perhaps fabric, but the individuality of it and the price, therefore.
So I think I'll add what he said, she said, both of that, and add something more, that is get deliveries on time.
Oh, absolutely. How could we forget that?
Which they never do.
Masaba, as an ex-Gen Next designer, what do you believe that they should be concentrating on? Is there like some sort of, not a formula, but some sort of
I think the biggest point of debate is whether you should do something that's quirky, out of the box, over the top, or you should do something that's commercially viable. I think you have to find that middle point, which is being artistically commercial, where you're offering the client something different, innovative, which has your USP, your signature style, but at the same time, it should have the power to move off a rack. You don't want to, the thing is we're in a country where fashion isn't really considered art. We consider fashion to be business. So the masses that are buying your clothes don't appreciate something you can't wear once you go back home. You want to be able to wear it. So it's as simple as that. You find that middle point, which is artistically commercial, and you're sorted. Again, don't overprice. A lot of times people do that, thinking that, we're at Lakme Fashion Week and, we're now with the big leagues, so we can charge a great price, but it just doesn't work.
I think everyone agrees that being artistically commercial is where you need to be. But I often find to define what being artistically commercial is quite hard. Do you think you can define it to us?
Typically when I saw the Gen Next show this time, and I must say I was very impressed. What I feel you really need to do is be a great stylist. When you send your clothes out on the ramp, it's important to have great commercial pieces that will sell for on its own merit. So a jacket or a tunic or a skirt. But how you really put it together, how you layer it, how much you can think out of the box when you style the garment and create a look that is completely yours and your signature. That is what will make you stand out. I mean, today you look at any established designer. Let's take Sabyasachi. Okay, he makes these fabulously commercial pieces that but when he puts them together, they look completely otherworldly. So I think that is something that we, that one needs to achieve.
I think when you're a new designer also, there's a lot of excitement, especially if you're in the Gen Next show. You get the full support. I think all of us were at the Gen Next show. But then to make the leap from Gen Next to emerging, a few designers, some designers do fall by the wayside. What are the mistakes that people make when they're making that leap from being Gen Next to emerging?
Very interesting question, Sujata. In fact, we approach most of the Gen Next designers every season. And I would say that 90% of them don't work out and don't come to our shop floor for a couple of reasons. A, they are hell-bent on their commercial terms. B, they don't give timely deliveries. And 3, their pricing is completely not workable at the store. So if you have a right balance of correct yourself in all these 3 factors, then I think you'll reach most of the stores, whoever approaches you or you approach them. But these are the 3 things where they generally fail.
Also, one area of concern that we face at our store is the quality control. And the store rejects at times. It doesn't want to put certain garments on the floor because there may be stains or there may be some or the other quality control issue. Now, when we send that back, if that is, going back to the designer, and we have paid for it because some Gen Next will expect you to pay the amount before they dispatch, and established also for that matter, designers in that sense. But the garments that have gone back are not coming back for perhaps till the season is over. I mean, I have locked up money in the rack, and you don't have that quick response time which the store needs and demands, then we are not going to come back to you again. If you cannot handle orders on time, whether they are the store's rack orders or customized orders for clients, if you have said that you can handle them and eventually you can't, you're actually making the store suffer a client, which means that we may reconsider the designer. There are minute details which go into whether a Gen Next going to an emerging designer may or may not work out besides what he said.
So then as a young designer, if you can't make the commitment, are you better off to just be honest and tell the store, this time I can't do it, and come back later, instead of thinking, oh my God, I have to say yes to everybody because I'm new?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, or at least be very transparent in your concerns. That either if you can deliver by end of this month means end of this month or mid next month. Be very precise about that because the end client is assured that way. The floor budgets are worked out that way. The stocks are worked out that way to be on the floor, So everything goes for a toss just because you are being vague about it, or so to say, taking creative liberties at that.
Maswa, any lessons you learned as a Gen Next designer who translated to an emerging designer?
Well, I think one point that I'd like to make actually is that since we figured that you have to start off with a consignment when you're new, I think we should set some rules as buyers and as designers. A lot of times, it's happened with me with over 8 stores, and I'm not joking, but I give my stuff to them, say, for a 30-day or a 45-day test period, and whatever doesn't move, the dead stock comes back to me in 45 days, apparently, but it never does. It does take over sometimes 4, sometimes 6 months until the season is over. That collection is considered old stock, and I have to sell it off at a really cheap price so that it moves. Otherwise, it's just lying in my workshop being eaten up, So I think that's one problem that we have with buyers. That's what sort of, pushed me to move from consignment to buying. So once it's gone, it's with you. And I mean, more than anything, I think we need to sort of just be a little more consistent. If buyers were a little more consistent with their orders, it would make life much easier for younger designers, because for some people, that's their only source of income, which they're putting back into the new collection that they do.
You know, quite honestly, it's a two-way street. And I think every relationship that you develop with each store, even buying has its own perils. You know, you're chasing them for money and, you know, a lot of other issues. It really is for the designer and the buyer to kind of have a two-way loyalty and really work out. It's beneficial to both.
Since we're at a fashion week, I also, as I said at the beginning, to me, Fashion Week is the heart that drives fashion in many ways. How important is Fashion Week? I mean, all your buying is done here. And for designers, how important is it to have a presence here and have that continual presence?
I think the presence is very, very important. Although having said that, I must admit